All right, everyone, welcome to the Coach Harry Show. Kendall, Grayson, and Coach Harry this week. Thank you very much. Coach, we've got a lot to get to, and we'll do a little bit more of that later on in the show. Certainly want to get to the hockey that we played here over the weekend, and always like to start the show by just getting your thoughts on the weekend. We had finally a home game in the first time in over a month. It felt like it had been 3 months, but it was a long time. High-scoring game there on Friday night against Watertown. You win that one. You have the second home game on Saturday. You drop a close one, and then the Sunday road game against Athens. So, as I always do, just like to get your thoughts on the games here on the weekend.
Well, it was a little like a roller coaster weekend. Friday, I didn't think we played very well in one. I thought we took our opportunities to score on Friday, but overall I wasn't very pleased with the way we played with or without the puck, and we still scored 8 goals. So at the end of the game I was happy, but it was not great. And then the next night I thought we played pretty good and couldn't score. Yeah. So it was kind of disappointing there, where I thought we have 50-something shots and just couldn't score a goal. And then back on Sunday I thought we played a really good game and couldn't muster up a win. So it was kind of one of those weekends where, as I said, the motions were going up and down. As I said, Friday I was like, I wanted to upset, but I was happy because we won. And then Saturday I thought, oh geez, we played pretty good. We had 50 shots, and we did some good things, but we just couldn't muster up a win there. So and then on Sunday we go into Athens, third game, and they hadn't played, and I thought we played a heck of a hockey game, and we made a couple mistakes there, but I thought we played a great game. I thought the one goal there they scored, it was kicked in, and then Whitey's goal at the end of the game was in, and everybody told me it was in. I've had a bunch of people in even their people on their side, although that was a goal, and so it was just one of those games. But I was proud of the guys, the way we played. They hadn't played all weekend, and we did a heck of a job.
And you had some players that were out of the lineup as well. And, overall, and we've talked about this now leading up to it, we're in a stretch of hockey where we're going to play 3 games in 3 weeks, every game per weekend, 3 times. We're going to do that 4 or 5 times in a row here. Overall, how do you think that you performed in that 3-game scenario? We've only seen one up until this point against PD a couple of weeks ago.
No, I liked it. I didn't mind it. Everybody contributed. You look on Sunday there, I had a line with the young guy Mogul in the middle with Cunningham and Demke, and I thought they had a great game. They were all over the ice, and I really liked their game. And and then the other 2 lines, Mott hadn't been here for probably about a month, I think, or 3 weeks, and he stepped in with Whitey and that, and I thought they did a pretty good job offensively. So it's all been changed. Even Saturday, we went from Friday to Saturday, and that lineup changed. So the guys have had to step up and play different positions. And as I said, the other Mogul, we had the twins. And he played defense on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I thought he did a good job. So everybody stepped up and did a good job. As I said, we just didn't get the results we wanted, and we got to do a better job. As I said, when you play a game like we did on Friday night and score 8 goals, and the coach isn't happy, there's a reason, And then, as I said the other night, it was just a weird weekend. As I said, when we played well, we didn't get the results, and when we played bad, we got results. So I'm not sure. Maybe we got to play bad all the time. I'm not really sure. So we may score 8 goals. So, but that's as I said, we kind of just got to put it together. But overall, disappointing. We needed some more points, and now we're going to need a little bit of help. And as I said, we got 15 games left, so we're not dead yet, and we're going to keep going.
All right, everyone, we will take a break, our first one here on the show. When we come back, we're going to recap every game individually, and then we'll talk about some roster things and take your questions during that segment also later on. So thank you. When you're craving that slow smoke flavor done right here in Winston-Salem, there's only one place to go, Honky Tonk Smokehouse. From tendered pulled pork and fall-off-the-bone ribs to fresh house-made sides, Honky Tonk has it all. Not a meat lover? They've got delicious vegan options too. And when it's time to party, let Honky Tonk Smokehouse handle the catering and event planning. They'll bring the flavor to you. Stop by 145 Jonestown Road and taste why the locals here can't get enough. Honky Tonk Smokehouse.
What are you doing, bub?
Just fixing my chair.
You should call Contract Business Solutions.
Good idea. I'll give them a call.
Proudly serving the Piedmont Triad area for over 17 years, Contract Business Solutions partners with leading manufacturers to create innovative, budget-friendly workspaces. From design and layout to delivery and installation, explore our capabilities at cbsworkspaces.com. Looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate around Winston-Salem and the Triad? Meet Jennifer Sapp, your trusted local realtor. With nearly 30 years of deep experience, Jennifer specializes in everything from historic homes and remodels to investment properties, college town housing, and short sales. She's known for honesty, integrity, and making the process as stress-free as possible. Ready to make your move? Call 336-782-3148 or visit jensapprealty.com today.
Two pillows, endless possibilities. At Cotton & Crate, we make it easy to refresh your home season after season. Our 18x18 and 12x20 pillow sizes pair perfectly with our seasonal collections of interchangeable covers, so you can refresh your style anytime without cluttering up your closet. We're proud to team up with the Twin City Thunderbirds, celebrating hometown spirit and the comfort of home on and off the ice. Thunderbirds fans, enjoy $5 off your order at cottonandcrate.com with the code TBIRDS5OFF. Cotton & Crate, two pillows, endless possibilities.
Do you want an experience that wakes you up? A place where you can scream to your heart's delight? Go ahead. No one will hear you anyway. That rumble you hear, that growl you feel, that's us. Hell yeah, boys!
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Coach Harry Show. Kendall, Grayson, and Coach Harry here this week to talk about the three games that we had on the weekend. Coach, we'll get started with that high-scoring game that you admittedly just said you weren't too thrilled with. We can get into it here and break it down, and we always do. But they get the first two goals of the night there on Friday night. Your team's kind of in a tough spot, and I'm sure you would have liked to see a little bit of a better start. But the good news is, eventually you do respond and score three in a row. But just tell us about the first period there.
Well, it was just we talked about it. When you come off the road a long time, we've been there. I think it was actually 4 weeks because we had that week break, so we didn't play a game for over 4 weeks, or almost 5 weeks, I guess, from the last time we played a home game. So a lot of times you come back after the road and you just think it's going to be easy because you're at home in the crowd and everybo's buzzing and it's a good time. So, but a lot of times you try to explain that to players, like you got to make sure that we're ready. And as I said, I don't think we came out very fast, and they jumped on us. I told them they were going to come at us. They work hard for 60 minutes, and they're going to come. So I give them a lot of credit. They drove a long way to get here, and they took it to us there at the start. And Boots, he's one of those characters. He scored that goal to make it 2-1, and I think he gave us a bunch of life there. And after that, then as I said, then the old roller coaster happened after that, where we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. So, but as I said, the start wasn't very good for us, and we have to be better there.
So you settle into the game there with a couple of goals early in the second period. Cunningham gets one, Keeley gets one. Watertown answers back. They get a couple of goals back-to-back there themselves, and they ended up taking the lead at 4-3. That's when you made a goaltending swap. We've seen that here the last few weekends or so. Just tell us kind of what led to that, and then obviously Boris went on and had a good game.
Yeah, it's one of those. You're at the part of the year where sometimes maybe early on in the year you stick with a guy and hopefully he can get out of it or whatever, and the young guy, he's come in to play 2 games for us and stood on his head and played really well. So I give him the benefit of the doubt, and I don't know if it was our slow start and then him. I think he might have got a little rattled there on that first one when he tried to clear it, and it was just one of those nights. When we're in a mode that we're in right now, you can't wait. You can't say, well, geez, I hope we can turn it around. I've got to do something to change things and change the flow of the game. And that last goal there, I just said it was time to make a move, and that's what happens.
And your team responded really well. You get 4 in a row after that and go on and you win the hockey game. But I want to talk about, you get 2 power play goals in the game. One of them was, there at the very end with 5 seconds left or whatever. But power play scores in the second period. Sally gets a big goal. I think specialty teams is something that's just really been a theme over the last few weeks that's really been working well, and we saw it there play out on Friday night.
Well, no question. As I said, the one thing that what happens when we think we're ready and we get bursts of energy, and we played really well well. As you say, like, we didn't play well, and then all of a sudden we got a burst of energy, played well, and that's when you know you're not at 100%, and you just hope that those little bursts give you enough energy and enough goals that you can survive, and that's what happened on Friday night. When we scored, like it was we took over, and then it seemed like the flame went out, and then they came back, and then all of a sudden the flame for us exploded again, and we went at them and scored some goals. So it was just one of those nights where you're glad the game was over, because you never know. I've been in those games before where it could be 11-10 before the end of the night, and the ones that score that last goal, and when the time runs out, that's who wins it. You know what I mean? I played in one of those games. When I was in Danville, we won 11-10, and at the end of the game, I wanted to jump. It was not a very good night, but we won, and it was just one of those nights. We scored, then they scored, and then they scored, and we scored, and it was just. And at the end of the game, the other coach and I were like, "I've never seen it before." It was just one of the. And every time they shot or we shot, and as I said, all of a sudden we scored and made it 11-10, and then next thing you know, the time ran out and we won. So it was like I'm glad the time ran out. So, but we got to be better, and as I said, you can't hope for those bursts like that to get ahead on certain teams.
We'll get into the Saturday game and the Sunday game, but there for Friday night, before we take our next break, anything else you'd like to say? Just put a ribbon on
it was just nice to be back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It was nice to be back home, and as I said, scored 8 goals. I think it was good for the fan to watch it. A lot of people thought it was an exciting game. It was, when they score 8 goals and a game like that, it was very exciting. From the guy behind the bench, he had a little mixed emotions about how the game went, but that's not the way we want to play normally. I love the 8 goals, but I wasn't big on the amount that they scored. So we've got to be better at that. But as I said, it was great to be back. I know the guys enjoyed having the fan. I remember standing behind the bench, and Mike and Cap, where I was like, I go, this is kind of weird. It's been like 5 weeks. We haven't been here at all and been on the road and played like 7 games. So it was a little different, but a lot of excitement, a lot of goodness.
Yep. All right, we'll take one more break here, and we'll come back and talk about the Saturday game against Watertown next. Thank you.
Gwin Services has been serving North Carolina for over 50 years, ensuring the safety and comfort of our customers' homes. We take pride in bringing together the best electricians, plumbers, and heating and cooling technicians to bring convenience and unbeatable value to our customers. Life can be hectic. What better way to simplify than to have one company you trust to take care of all of your home's repair needs? Since 1972, integrity and customer satisfaction have been at the heart of everything we do. We are proud to have built a name our neighbors trust, one that provides peace of mind and a service that can be relied on, today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Thank you for trusting Gwin Services with your home. We are proud to stand behind the work we do every single day to serve our friends and neighbors here in North Carolina. We are Gwin Services. One call does it all.
Being your best is hard. You gotta take care of yourself. You got your husband.
Let's put in a pool. For the kids.
For the kids. Forget the car. How about a motorcycle?
And if you own a business?
We need servers from this century.
Yeah.
At a Legacy Federal Credit Union, we're committed to helping you be your best you. Whether it's with an unbeatable car loan rate, home equity line of credit, or small business help.
Who's the best?
Visit alegacy.org for our best rates.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Coach Harry Show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday. You're watching online on Thursday. Coach, we'll get into the second game now against Watertown. I know you just mentioned it a little bit, but a little bit of a different game. Obviously, you've got an 8-6 game, and it's crazy and roller coaster. And that Saturday game felt more like a typical hockey game that you might see in this league on a Saturday night.
Yeah, no, I thought we came out. I thought we came out strong, but again, it was almost a little like Friday night. We came out strong, and then we kind of wandered a little bit there and let them back in the game again. And then it was just I thought it was a close checking game, and they worked hard. And as I said, I like the way we were going. As I said, we just had to keep it going a little bit, but we had some chances and we couldn't score. And when you get in those situations and the puck's not going in, like, especially when the Friday night, like I think every time we shot, we had a good chance to score.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the next night. It's like, well, maybe we should have saved 2 or 3 of those and put them in our pocket and brought them out on the Saturday night. So as I said, we had some good chances. I liked certain things we did, and it was a 1-1 game. And then we scored that goal, the power play. I think it was a power play, and we went up 2-1. And I thought, okay, we're in good position there. And then unfortunately, we made a couple mistakes there at the end. And when you're up like that, you can't make those mistakes, and we did. And as I said, unfortunately, we got behind the 8 ball.
That was Watertown's last game of the weekend, and
right.
We had the one that we had to go play on Sunday. Yeah. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say here. I'll kind of ask it anyway, but from a sort of an energy standpoint, does it make a difference knowing that you've got another game the next day, and maybe you can't treat it like it's Game 7 of the finals, where they can in that scenario?
Well, I think it's a great question, because I think maybe some people think that way, but you got to take care of the game in hand,
right?
Or the game that you're playing there that night. And it doesn't matter if you're first place, last place, or whatever place. You got to worry about the game that you're playing at that time. And as I said, we got up 2-1, and we made a mistake that you just can't make. And I had 2 guys trying to leave the zone, and when we didn't have possession of the puck, and you can't make that in that situation. And a little disappointing in that, because as I said, I thought for the most part we played not bad, and then they scored that one, and then they got the power play goal, and we just couldn't muster up to anything at the end there. So, but that's those are the games that we played all year, and we were starting to get better, but that game there didn't help. And as I said, those are points that against a team like that, and I'm not. No disrespect, but when those teams that maybe below us are in the points right now, we've got to earn those points and get them.
And that's another good point, because that's something that you and I had talked about privately on Sunday, I think it was, is the amount of games that this team has played this season against teams that are right there with them or above them in the standings was, it's almost every game, and so that was a rare instance of just seeing a team that was below you.
Well, that's the first game, actually, because we played another team, I think, at the start of the year, but everybody was jumbled up there like that. So technically, our 40th game, we finally played a team that was below us, and so, but that's good. That's what the fans want. I think you want to see good hockey. You don't want to see, again, every once in a while the blowout's not too bad, but I think from a fan standpoint, you want to see good games, and that's what we've had. And as I said, it's just one of those situations where that's our schedule, and you got to live with it.
I also wanted to mention, I know you said coming back for the first time in about a month for a home game. Saturday's game was our largest attended crowd of the season so far. So I want to say thank you to everybody that made it out. It was awesome.
It was great. Yeah. No, that was a great crowd. I think we're one short or something. I'm not sure.
It was close, yeah.
But no, as I said, the fans have been great, and I know this has been one of those years where it's a little out of the norm, but the fan support has still been great, and it doesn't matter how many are there. It's loud and boisterous, and as I said, it's always a bonus for us.
So Watertown you will not see the rest of the year. Athens, we're going to see more of that team, so we can talk about Sunday's game. But before we head to Sunday's game, anything else you'd like to say about Friday or Saturday for the home games?
Watertown, they're in a situation where they're just working hard. They're working for next year right now, and they're probably in a point where to make the playoffs for them is remote. And we're at that point where we gotta make some hay this weekend here and get going back and get a little help, hopefully. And as I said, every time we look for a little help from somebody, we don't get it. So hopefully we can get a little help, but then we got to take care of our own business too. You can't ask for help if you don't do your own business, and so we got to take care of our own business. And as I said, Watertown came in, and I give them credit. They worked their tails off, and they earned the win.
Yep. All right, everyone, we'll take another break and then come back and talk about the road game on Saturday in Athens. Thank you.
I want to stop losing sleep over this. I want to know that surgery is the right decision. I want to protect what I've built. I want a plan designed just for me. I want to know that I'm in excellent hands. I want the latest and greatest. I want to continue to grow, no matter what life throws my way.
For the best surgical care, you want Novant. Novant Health. Best surgeons, amazing nurses, remarkable care.
Maple Chase Golf and Country Club offers the best in recreational amenities in the Triad. Come enjoy a meal at the Pinebrook Bar and Grill, relax by our pool and cabana, and gear up at the Pro Shop while sharpening your skills on our 9,000 square foot putting green and play around on our 18-hole Ellis Maples Design Championship Golf Course. You can find out more at maplechasecc.com. That's maplechasecc.com.
Flow Offer to Purchase makes it easy for you to generate an appraisal for a vehicle online in under 5 minutes. You can confidently use Flow Offer to Purchase to determine your vehicle's trade-in value or to get a real offer to sell it to us. Here at Flow, we've always had a transparent, interactive appraisal process that our customers love. We developed our Flow Offer to Purchase tool to offer you that same great experience online or through our Flow Garage app anytime, anywhere. Using Flow Offer to Purchase is simple. Either enter your license plate number or VIN, and the system will pull up basic information about your vehicle. Some vehicles have options or extras that need to be selected in order to pull an accurate value. Then just tell us about the current condition of a few things like your tires, dents and scratches, or mechanical issues. From there, a real offer on your vehicle, whether you buy from us or not, is just a click away. Just a heads up, our staff will check over your vehicle to ensure your Flow Offer to Purchase is accurate. Your satisfaction is our priority. Flow Automotive dealerships have processed tens of thousands of vehicles using Flow Offer to Purchase, which has resulted in buying many thousands of cars from customers. Try Flow Offer to Purchase for free today. You can access this tool by clicking Sell Trade on flowauto.com or your dealer site by starting the Sell Trade dialog in the center of the homepage.
That rumble you hear, that's us. Hell yeah, boys!
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Coach Harry Show. Kendall, Grayson, Coach Harry with you here this week. Coach, we had a Sunday game this week, which I mentioned is a little bit unusual in the schedule, but now it's going to kind of be our normal here coming up. And I know you talked about it at the opening and talked about the game there on the road against Athens, but, you know, I think compared to maybe the Friday game, you do get a goal first. You get a second goal there in the second period. But just take us through, maybe the first and the second period. You had an even strength goal from Sally, and then Whitey gets you a shorthanded goal to put you up by 2 there about halfway through the game.
Yeah, I really liked our first 2 periods. I liked the whole game. I didn't really have an issue with it. When you're in a game like that against a good team like Athens, it's a break here or break there. And as I said, we're up 2-0, and we made a mistake, and they made it 2-1 there, and I was like, oh boy, the bubble kind of burst there a little bit. But even after that, I liked our game. Going into the lineup at the time, I had to, as I said, Mogul had to jump in and play with Cunningham and Dempke, and as I said, just the lines kind of got just jumbled up there in the game. And as I said, I was happy. I told the guys after we worked our tails off, and I thought we deserved a better fate. They scored the 1 goal there, and then I honestly believe that I challenged it, because I wouldn't have challenged if I didn't believe it. That and even the jumbotron, you look at it, he turned his foot, and that's basically considered kicking. So when it's a 3-2 hockey game like that, and they get that goal, and a little disappointing. They had I hate to say about the Stripes, but when you go into an arena like that, and they hadn't played, they had like 8 power plays, 2 5-on-3s, and we get a 1.5 power plays. And in a game like that, it's kind of disheartening that those things kind of happen in those situations. And I'm not saying that we didn't deserve some of them, but there was a lot of penalties that they deserved too. So it was just one of those nights where, as I said, I don't think Karma was on our side, but I give the guys a lot of credit. I thought we worked our tail off, and then we scored at the end. So if that 1 goal didn't count, Whitey's was actually in the net, so it should have been a 3-3 hockey game. So a little disappointing. I thought the effort was great there. As I said, the guys 3-3. We got there about, I think, an hour or 45 minutes before we had to get on. Before we had to get on the ice, we had a snafu with the eating arrangements. But that's fine. Those things happen. Yeah. But as I said, I thought we came out and we didn't give up a whole lot of odd man rushes. When we did, I thought the defense played well, and then obviously Boris, when they had the opportunity to score, he made the save there. But close game, and we just have to learn how to close those games out when you're up 2-0.
You mentioned Boris, and I keep going back to the stretch of hockey we have coming up. playing 3 games and these weekend series. Tell us about the goaltending with him and Purdy right now. And, do you look at a series like this weekend and say, I'm going to go ahead and schedule it, I'm going to put this goalie in this day, or do you kind of take it, game by game, see how the first one does on Friday? How do you plan on handling that?
Boris is going to go Friday. We know that already. And, he's played well and gave us an opportunity, every night. And so he's going to go Friday. And after that, I'll be honest with you, I could sit here probably for the next half hour and give you all the scenarios I had up there, up here. But it just depends on how it goes. And our goal this week is we got to get a lot of points. And so that's going to dictate how we play. There could be a scenario where, Purdy could go in Saturday, or there could be a scenario where, Boris might play 3 games. It just depends on how we're feeling, how we're playing, how the guys are feeling, and where it's at. So that's my job, to sit back and see where the guys are emotionally and physically, and what's going to be the best situation for us. So as I said, Boris will go Friday, and Saturday morning you and I'll talk, and I'll tell you who's going Saturday.
Sounds good. I wanted to ask you before we go off the Athens game here. I mentioned Watertown opponent you're not going to see again. Athens you are. Unfortunately, haven't been on the right side, although you put some good performances together like you did on Sunday. What do you think the key is to finally getting a win against these guys? Because I think we see them 4 or 5 more times here.
Well, it's the 60 minutes. They're a lot like Binghamton. We went into Binghamton and we never gave up a goal that I think the one goal we gave them a little bit and gave them some momentum, and those are the goals that you can't give up. If a team comes down and scores a real good goal, I always say tip your hat to them. Give them credit too. If they make a great play, make a great play. But I think the first goal there, we had the puck. We lost it. Next thing you know, there was a scramble. Next thing, the puck's in the net. And those are the goals that we've got to kind of eliminate, especially against a team like that. And if we do that, then we'll be good. Don't get me wrong. I thought they're a very high pile. They got a great team. But I'm going to be honest with you. We went toe-to-toe with them with the lineup we had the other day. And as I said, we just got to eliminate those certain mistakes at the time. And, at the end of the second game, if they don't score that second goal, we go in 2-1. We're really in good shape. So I was pleased with it. And as I said, we just got to make sure that, we got to play. If they're going to earn something, make them earn it, and don't give them anything, and play the way we did the other day. I was pleased with it.
Yeah. As always, on the other side of this break, we'll get to the fan questions. But before we do, Coach, anything else you'd like to say about the Sunday game or the weekend as a whole, just to wrap it up here?
As I said, it was more like the roller coaster weekend, and happy or sad, but happy because we won, and then sad because I thought we played well and didn't win, and then the other game I thought we played well and had 50 shots and couldn't win. So a lot of emotions up and down. And as I said, unfortunately, we didn't get the points that we were hoping for this weekend. But this weekend here, we got to turn the tables a little bit and get some points.
All right, we'll take one more break. We'll come back and answer fan questions. Thank you.
Finish strong. Start here. Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist.
When you compete at your best, you need a team that keeps you moving. At Yadkin Physical Therapy, we're proud to be the official physical therapy provider of the Twin City Thunderbirds. From the first evaluation to hands-on treatment, we focus on what matters, reducing pain, restoring mobility, and building confidence. Because performance isn't just about recovering, it's about training smarter, strength, stability, balance, and control. Our therapists tailor every plan to each individual so you can return to the ice, the gym, or the job feeling stronger. The same level of care we provide the Thunderbirds is here for our whole community. Students, weekend warriors, and families helping you stay healthy and perform at your best. Yadkin Physical Therapy in Yadkinville. Call 336-677-1800 or email ypt@yadkinphysicaltherapy.com.
What a day. Rock and roll, let's go!
If you want an experience that wakes you up, a place where you can scream to your heart's delight, go ahead. No one will hear you anyway. Here, you don't just watch. You feel. Come as you are and have a damn good time. That rumble you hear, that growl you feel, that's us.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Coach Harry Show. Kendall, Grayson, and Coach Harry, as always. We thank you for joining us. Thanks to Dave & Buster's for having us yet again. Coach, we're going to get to our questions here, and the first one has to deal with roster changes. Obviously, there was a couple of moves today. Gus Ford going to Athens, 3 players coming back the other way. I think that's what everyone kind of wants to talk about. We got a question specific about roster changes, but anything you'd like to say about today and where we're at?
You make a move, and we got 3 new guys coming in, and actually I'm sitting here waiting for their driving in tonight as we speak. So that'll be exciting tomorrow. We'll see where they're at. And Corey Cunningham, I moved yesterday to Indiana. We had to make some roster moves, and I know the one question there is there going to be some more moves? And yeah, there's going to be some more. Mike Manny, I unfortunately had to release today, and those are tough situations. Mikey's been a great asset to us, and not just on the ice but off the ice. And as I said, we're just in a situation where now with players that we have to make some moves, and so there's probably going to be a couple more. I'm not sure how things are going to go. As I said, if I had a crystal ball, I'd tell you, but I don't have a crystal ball with me right now. But some roster changes are going to be made, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm excited about it. Every time you bring in new, fresh faces, I know they're excited about coming. Sad to see people leave, but that's pro hockey, and you got to move on. When those situations happen, as I said, nobody's happy about it. No one's. You lose people that you care about or whatever. And as I said, but you're going to bring in some new, fresh faces, and these kids that the one Dom played here a couple years ago for a little cup of coffee, and a great kid, and I know the other 2 guys. The rapport, from what I've been told, is good about them, and people like them. So I think it's been a good, and we'll see what happens.
And we have a specific question here. What can we look forward to with those players? You've got one that was listed as, I think, a defenseman and a forward, but will probably play forward, I'm guessing, in Dumas.
Yeah.
And then you've got the defender and then Gallant. So specifically, those, I know you just touched on it, but those 3 players are coming over and good players for us.
Well, Gallant, I think he had like 50 or he had a lot, 49 goals or something like that, and put up a lot of points last year, and could put the puck in the net. And Dumas, I think he's going to be. I think he's come a long way. A lot of times when you get a guy as a rookie, that first year, everyone's like, oh geez, and I think we traded him at the time, and it was a tough move, but we made the move. And as I said, I think he's really matured. I know he had some things going on in his life at that time too, which didn't help, but he's a great. He understands the game, and I think he's gonna bring something to us that if you saw him a few years ago, I think you're going to be surprised. I think he's going to bring a lot more to the table. And Johansson's a big defenseman. I'm not sure how tall he is or the specifics, but I know he's a big guy and likes to play a little physical, but he can move the puck. And as I said, I think he's just going to bring a little stability to us, and it'll help.
Yeah, I've got him at 6'2" here, but yeah, big player that we just saw here recently. This question is also about movement. It says specifically what areas still need to be improved.
Well, you're always trying to improve. If you can improve somewhere, it doesn't matter what position. If you might think this guy's a great player, and if you can improve on it, then you improve on it. Your goal is to look at the situation and say, can we improve in that area? So I think we just have to be tighter as a team. I don't know if we don't have to go out and look at and get. The guru or whatever like that. I think we just got to get what we've got here right now and work with it. And as I said, I think we can put the puck in the net, and I think we got to worry about not giving the puck up in our zone. And if we do that, then we're going to give ourselves a chance.
Yep. And for folks who don't know, a lot of this player movement that's going on recently, not just only with our team, but across the league, is the trade deadline's coming up here on Monday.
Well, the trade deadline's on Monday, and the trade deadline was yesterday in the Southern Pro League. So there's been a couple movements there that might alter our situation here too. So as I said, the last 2 days, thank God for the cell phone, and you can put it on speaker because my ear would have been sore. So, but that's where it's at. And this is that time of year where everybody's jockeying for position. Everyone's looking for that piece that's going to take them over the hump, or two pieces, or whatever we're going to do, or whatever. And they think that's going to help them down the stretch to get where we want to get to.
Next question says, what does the team need to get all 9 points this weekend?
Well, we're going to have to play. Like they won. They just went to Topeka and won a couple games there. So they're playing well. I mean, obviously they're in the standings. I think they've done a good job recently about rebuilding their team too and getting to where they want to get to. So we're going to have to work our tail off. But I believe if we play like we did in stretches, maybe Friday, Saturday, and then like a full game like we did on Sunday, we're going to give ourselves a chance, and that's all we have to. That's all we can ask for. But we're going to have to play tight. Don't give them any chances. And when we do get a chance, as you say, specialty teams. And I haven't really had to be honest with you, how their specialty teams are, but our specialty teams have to be good. Yeah. We have to, hopefully we can get some goals on there, give us some energy, and then we do get a penalty, then hopefully we can kill that off, and that also gives us energy. So the special teams, a lot of times too, last time we went down there, we had the boys had to fly down there. It was the old fly game. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That was a couple years ago. But we got into some penalty trouble there and a lot of shenanigans and all that. So hopefully we can go down there and put our best foot forward and do what we have to do and play the way we can play.
Yeah. We've got a couple of questions, I think, relating back to the Mughal brothers, who you mentioned. Jordan and Tristan played here on the weekend. We've got a question, just how was their experience? What did you think about them? And then another question about, Nate and Clay. Obviously, Clay's not here this season. Yeah. And maybe Nate's a little bit different this year. I don't know, but not your first experience having a couple of brothers here.
No, I mean, with Nate and Clay, I think, I think it's been good for Nate, not to be... we always talk about the umbilical cord, how I think it was maybe 3 feet, even on the ice there, if one was in one corner, the other, we had to squeeze them over to the other corner. So, but the Mughal brothers, I thought they played well. I think that's how you say it, Mughal, or
I will Mughal this weekend, but
okay.
Unfortunately,
but no, I thought they played well, and this is the time of year you try to bring in some college guys, and they came in, and unfortunately they had to go back. But no, those are guys that you bring in. And they want the experience to see if they can play at this level. And I thought they did a good job, both of them. The ice time they got, and when they played, I thought they did a good job. So those are the guys that, down the road next year, or if they can come back after school and, make sure they take care of their schooling. But those are the guys where you build around, next year, all of a sudden, you bring 2 or 3 of those guys in. All of a sudden, you got 3 guys right off the bat you don't have to go look for. So they had a great experience. They enjoyed it. I think they... now they know if they can play or not play, or if they want to play, and a lot of times guys in the summer from college, they're there, well, we'd like to play, but we're not sure and stuff. So it's always good to come down and play a few games, get the experience of what it's like, as much as they go to college, and it's like a pro system or regular, practice and things like that. It's different. You know what I mean? You're not worried about going to school. You're not worried. All your job is to do is play hockey. And as I said, they had a good experience, and hopefully they can come back.
This question relates to some of the player movement that we've seen here. Just says simply, what can the fans do to support you and support the team right now at this point of the season?
What they've been doing. As I said, when things are good, we love the support. But when things don't go our way, the guys are working hard. And as I said, when we play bad, they deserve whatever comes their way. Or we do certain things. We deserve the criticism. But when we, as I said, for the fans here this year and the 3 years I've been here, they've been great, win, lose, or draw, and everybody's sad when we lose, but as I said, the support's still there, and that's all we need. Just all you can do is be there for us, and we appreciate it.
There's a question on here about the rotation of goalies. We already touched on that one. This one says, Coach, what is simply your favorite thing about coaching?
A couple things, like I've really enjoyed the city here, and other cities I've been in. I've enjoyed the city. I've enjoyed the people. I enjoy practice and the games and that, but I think the camaraderie with the players, and when you say camaraderie, I don't get very close with them. I do and I don't. People always ask, well, how's the bus? And, just being on the bus sometimes is cool, or just sitting in the dressing room after a practice, or talking, or being in the room bringing the guys in. But I just think it's being around the game, and but I love working at practice, but I love the games. I love you play Friday night and win, lose or draw, and then all of a sudden Friday night, okay, what am I going to do Saturday to either get the boys back on track or go in there and kick their throw a garbage can at them and get them going for the next night. You're not sure what you're going to do. So it's your mind's always going 24/7. Doesn't matter what win, lose or draw, or playing one game or two games. But I just think the whole atmosphere, as I said, I've been places where as I said, this feels like home to me. So it's always good, like after a game or during the week when you're not playing or something. I love the city and the people that I've met here so far, and the fans. And as I said, and then game time and practice, as I said, I just really enjoy it, and I love going to the rink. And if you have a job and you wake up in the morning, and it's not 100% of the time, but I'm going to say probably 99.9% of the time you wake up, and I love going to the rink and working with the guys.
This question asks, in your opinion here so far this season, what period specifically do you think that we're the strongest in?
That's a great question. Yeah. At the start of the year, I think, definitely it wasn't the first.
Right.
Then I know we've had some real good second periods, and then some third periods. Maybe the second period, if you're going to really go into it, I think I still think we got to be better in the third in general. But then we've played some great first periods. But I think in general over the year, if you look at it, second period's probably been our one period that we've probably played the best.
Okay. Next question here just asks, do other teams have coaches shows? I think some do and some don't.
Yeah, some do, some don't. Some do it just like just from their office. They don't do it. I think they don't do it in a setting like this. They'll do it like just in their office and on a Tuesday night, I think. And I don't know if it's live or not live. I'm not really sure. So I know some other organizations. I was in Toledo in the East Coast League, and we had a Tuesday night coaches show all the time, and just different places. I've coached where all of a sudden, like even this year here, like I think on Saturday afternoon, I'm always on the one station there. Yep. They always call me, and I'm on there quite a bit. But when I was in Fort Worth, I was on the one night a week or something, like at 5 o'clock. I'd always be on for a couple minutes, talk about the game and the team and stuff like that. So, but this setting here, as I said, just when I was in Toledo. Okay. But I know other teams do some things, but not maybe as extravagant as we have.
Okay. We got a couple of questions relating to the Athens game specifically. Somebody asked if you caught the kiss cam there. We had a couple players that starred on that during the game.
Actually, I looked up at the one time in the kiss cam, and it was actually me, but there was nobody around, so I wasn't quite sure what to do. So, but yeah, no, I looked up again, and it was those two guys were there, so I saw that. So,
yeah. The question says, did the bus do okay?
The bus?
The bus. As far as I know, it was good.
Oh yeah, we're good. We're all good. We're all good.
And then another question, and this I've had this a couple times, but we had the instance in that game there. You almost never see it, but they thought they'd scored a goal. They turned the lights out, and it was just kind of mayhem from there.
My son played in the Southern Pro League, and the one team does it all the time. And I to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. I guess we were in Monroe, and they did it. And the other night, I was a little upset about it. All of a sudden, we had a two. They should have blown the whistle right away as soon as the lights went out, because it was like that. And I think the referee, I don't know if he. I'm not sure what he did, but all of a sudden we had a 2-on-1. So when I called him over, and I said, we don't get a whole lot of 2-on-1s, and we get a 2-on-1, and you call the whistle at the time. So I had to blow it. I was like, well, you could have blown it 10 seconds earlier, and I probably wouldn't have been so upset. But those. just trigger happy, just a little trigger happy. And unfortunately, and as I said, in a situation like that too, if the lights stay on, we got a 2-on-1. So who knows? But
Jacob Schnapp was not in the game, and while we're talking about players and health, there's a question about him. He skated today. And hopefully we'll see how he is tomorrow. And it's always the second day. Everyone says, "Oh, how's he feel today?" Well, I feel great today, and I've come in the next day, and it's like he's sore again. So I think he's ready. He'll be playing Friday, I'm pretty sure. And speaking of injuries, another question, asks if this season has had a lot of those, an excessive amount compared to maybe some years you've had in the past.
Yeah, probably a little more, but it's been it hasn't been the real bad ones. It's just we play Friday night, and now we can't play Saturday, and then or those situations, or like the other day there, I've had 3 guys get hurt in practice. Whitey got hurt in practice, Yuri got hurt in practice, and then Garcia got hit in the mouth with the puck, and he got hurt in practice. So we've had practice hasn't been our friend as far as injuries concerned, but it just seems like it's been the nagging ones this year more than the major ones. And touch wood that that we don't get any of those, but it's just been those, and that's the problem where they don't really need to go on IR. I think Mikey might have been the one that was on the IR, but it's those ones where you put a guy on IR more for less just to give him a rest too. But it's a situation where it's just they miss one and then they come back, and then the lineup changes, and then the lineup changes again. So the consistency there hasn't been there like we like. That's all.
We've had in the facility a couple of club hockey events over the last few weeks. Someone wanted to know how the locker room was left afterwards. And
it was good
okay.
this year.
Yeah.
Last year there was a couple of issues. We had these like night lights or something, and then they ripped them out, and then we had a cabinet that they opened up a little bit. But and this year was fine. They did a good job. It was all clear, and as I said, I just apparently the team that was in there before their last game didn't win, so they were a little upset. But still no excuse. But this year was fine.
Okay, good. I had a question here about how much food and pillows were collected as we had that going on Saturday night. 68 pillows officially, as I just texted during the break and got the answer on that. But we want to let everyone know that you can still drop off pillows during business hours this week from 10 to 4. So if you'd still like to come out and donate, you can do that. And we got 3 full boxes of food items. That was the other note that they wanted passed along.
And that goes to the food bank, right?
Yes. Second Harvest, was involved in that. So
we'd like to thank everybody for that.
Yes,
those
absolutely.
are great causes, and it's just like the Teddy Bears night. They go to a great cause, and so does the food. So we'd like to say thank you for that.
Yep. And then the final question I have here, Coach, and we had it asked a couple of times, with Gus Ford leaving, there's an A that's available on the sweater. Have you thought about maybe who the next guy will be for that?
Yeah, I know who it's going to be, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag tonight. There's going to be a change, and as I said, we'll wait. That'll be a surprise.
Okay.
I don't want to throw it out tonight. I'll let the cat out of the bag the next time we play.
Sounds good. Normally we take a quick break, but we're up here to 8 o'clock, so we can just go ahead and get to our final segment, which is always the weekend preview. I know that we asked about the 9 points earlier and what it's going to take, but you're going to get to see these guys for one weekend this season. It's coming up here. You got 3 games, and what will the plan be coming up?
Well, we're going to have to play. We're going to have to go down there and earn our points and make sure that we're ready. And I'm going to need all 20 guys pulling. And if someone doesn't play Friday night, they might play Saturday night. So, but we need everybody pulling this week. And when we get on the bus to come home Sunday night, we've got to be in a position where we've taken care of our business, and that's all we can ask for. And hopefully somebody else helps us out too. But we got to go down there, play tight, play the way we can play for 60 minutes, all 3 games, and after that, if we do that, then we'll give ourselves a chance.
Anything else before we close the show?
No, just like to thank everybody for coming. Again, we don't. I say it a lot, but coming back home there last Friday and Saturday night was a great feeling, and the support is always great. But another week or so before we come back. But thanks for all the support, and we'll see you.
Thanks.